All right, guys, welcome. DSF book review, The Warren Buffett Way. This is the second edition by Robert G. Hagstrom. Now, I've done a book review on Buffett's biography. Now, you see, this one is not as thick, but this one is like the biography of his business life. So I really recommend this book. Breaks down different companies that Buffett bought: Coca-Cola, Fruit of the Loom, Pampered Chef, Washington Post, American Express, stuff like that. He breaks it down, like when he bought them, sometimes what people were saying when he bought them, what he was looking at, why he bought them, all the guidelines that Buffett would use, and at a certain time when Buffett bought them, why and stuff. And it's pretty fascinating, and it kind of takes everything that Buffett's done. Who Buffett learned from, and stuff like that, and just basically Buffett's, like I said, Buffett's business biography is in this book. Buying a business, not just a stock, understanding, long term. And one of the chapters I really like is chapter 11, which, let me get to the beginning of this, chapter 11. And it's the psychology of money. And basically, the psychology of money, it's a great chapter because it kind of goes through what we talked about. There comes a certain point where, Buffett talks about the IQ of, everybody can have a 125 IQ, but once you have ordinary intelligence, it goes into the temperate, and it goes into what that book I was reading with Keynes and stuff about animal spirits and how people at certain times, just they go crazy. And another part of this chapter I really like is not letting the market tell you right or wrong. If you buy something because you've done some research, you found a great price, and you enter on that price, and the market does go a little bit down further, it doesn't mean that you're wrong. And that's one thing that they let the market make their decisions if they're wrong or right instead of themselves. And that's the main thing in here. It talks about, being calm. True investors are patient. And, that's all easy to say right now. But when the market does fluctuate, you can test yourself after you, read like this kind of chapter. And of course, I have a video on this, but it's called Introducing Mr. Market. And, it's Benjamin Graham. And Graham, kind of created this fake character, or called the stock market Mr. Market. And I like what it has to say, so I'm going to read it. Imagine that you and Mr. Market are partners in a private business. Each day without fail, Mr. Market quotes a price at which he is willing to either buy your interest or sell you his. The business that you both own is fortunate to have stable economic characteristics. But Mr. Market quotes are anything but. For you see, Mr. Market is emotionally unstable. Some days he is cheerful and enormously optimistic and can only see brighter days ahead. On these days, he offers a very high price for the shares in your business. At other times, Mr. Market is discouraged and terribly pessimistic, seeing nothing but trouble ahead. He quotes a very low price for your shares in this business. And it says, Mr. Market has another enduring characteristic, Graham said. He does not mind being snubbed. If Mr. Market's quote are ignored, he will come back again tomorrow with a new quote. Graham warned his students that it is Mr. Market's pocketbook, not his wisdom, that is useful. And that's the thing, guys. And I really like that paragraph and the whole book. But you can take advantage of Mr. Market, and doing so is perfectly okay, because that's just how it is. I mean, basically, the prices are there. You make the judgment, and you make your own judgment without, if you can make your own judgment without the market influence you. And one of the best things in here, they talk about Mr. Market, meet Charlie Munger. And basically, it was more than 60 years ago when Ben Graham introduced Mr. Market. 60 years since, he has been writing about the irrationality that exists in the market. Yet, in all these years since, there has been little apparent change in investor behavior. Investors still act irrationally, Foolish mistakes are still the order of the day. Fear and greed permeate the marketplace. And basically it goes through and it talks about how Munger fully understands the dynamics of emotional investing. And Munger understood how psychology affects investors. His instincts on taking into account have greatly influenced Berkshire Hathaway. In particular, he stressed what he calls the psychology of misjudgment. What is a human nature and draws people to misfortune and judgment. And, basically Munger came into, he says, I come into the psychology of misjudgments almost against my will. I rejected until I realized my attitude was costing me a lot more money. And then Munger, we all know, wants to buy a great company at an average price. He doesn't really worry about buying a bad company at a great price. So the thing is, Munger learned this, and I learned it too. Everybody learns it if you want to be successful in the market, that your psychology and your misjudgments, you will start changing once you've lost enough money. If it's costing you too much, you will change, or if you don't, you'll just keep losing money. So yeah, guys, this chapter, I'm just breaking down chapter 11. So yeah, if you liked what I was just talking about, that's just part of this book and a small part. So like I said, Warren Buffett Way by Robert G. Hagstrom. This is the second edition. There's newer editions out there. This one can be, you can get it pretty cheap. So that's the way I like it. And so anyways, guys, check it out. Rate this video. If you've read this, give me a comment. Tell me what you think about it. And I'll talk to you next time. DSF.